Another day, another dollar. Alright, how's it going everybody? My name is Infamous Isaac and I'm here with a video on this latest Bleach arc or excuse me, Bleach arc that I'm watching, which is the Arrancar versus the Shinigami arc. It was like episode 190 all the way to 205, but episode 204 and 205 are filler, so I skipped it. And I haven't mentioned this, but I'm skipping filler arcs, so the Bound arc skipped, the Gote 13 arc skipped, stuff like that. I'm skipping those because I just want to get to the manga canon stuff, which I'm not trying to diss some of the filler stuff because I know there are some good stuff. Like I know for sure that there's some good filler stuff, but I'm not gonna watch the Bound arc. Like I'm not gonna hold you, but overall, I'm just going through the manga canon stuff to try to catch back up to Bleach to watch the Thousand Year Blood War because I'm trying to see some hype stuff, bro. Bleach is one of the main goated shows. It's fire. It's up there with One Piece and Naruto for a reason. And I actually wanted to go on a little side tangent, but maybe one day I'll watch Naruto because I know so much about it and might as well watch it at this point to know everything about it. But I know if I watch Naruto, I'm gonna enjoy it because I remember watching it as a kid and all that, watching the pain stuff, watching the fourth Great Ninja War, and just overall the show's fire. So why haven't I watched it fully yet? I don't know. I couldn't be able to tell you, but it's an investment. So I would definitely have to sink my teeth into it after I finish Bleach, One Piece, and watch all the stuff that I want to watch. But anyways, Bleach, right? So if you want my rating on this arc, I want to give it a five. I'm not gonna hold you. Like I really, compared to the last arc with Grimjow and all that. Actually, that's a spoiler. Compared to the last arc period, I just didn't like it that much, like at all. The start was really rough. It didn't get too good until halfway through it, where things started getting crazy. But even then, three things happened in the halfway point, right? Two of them I enjoyed, one of them I did not until the end of it, which was really fire. And I can't get into it until I talk about the spoilers, so it's gonna be like meh. But I think this arc right now was a 5 out of 10 for me. I enjoyed it in some parts, but couldn't stand it in other parts. I thought it was boring in some parts and just like frustrating in others, which I'll mention later on. But yeah, that's my rating of 5 out of 10. So, if you want to leave now, by all means. But I'm gonna keep going with the spoiler stuff, so be warned. But this arc basically picks up with Grimjow and Ichigo's fight ending. Noitora shows up and he's basically fighting Ichigo now. He's beating him up because Ichigo got worked by Grimjow, so he's kind of low, but Ichigo won his fate, so he's chilling. Tesla showed up with Noitora, so he's holding Orihime hostage. Nell is getting beat up by Noitora because he actually knows who she is, and I'll explain that later. We go back to Uryu and Renji, where they're still fighting Salapido, or excuse me, Sayalapido Grants, where they're getting cooked. It's annoying. It's really annoying because this fight just gets dragged on for so long. It's crazy, genuinely crazy how much the anime started dragging this fight. It was insane. I have two complaints with that actually. This fight with Ichigo and Noitora and Sayalapido versus Renji, or not Ganchu, excuse me, Uryu, Donda Chaka, and Pesce is so dragged for a good portion of this arc. It's ridiculous, like actually ridiculous. I can't get onto it yet, but let me keep going. So Sayalapido comes back. He's fully dressed. He uses his awakening, his resurrection, and now he starts making clones of Uryu, Renji, Donda and Pesce. They're fighting them. Really boring. Really, really boring. I can't specify that enough. I did not like this part. I thought it was super boring, super stretched out. It was just the same stuff. Uryu and Renji trying to beat their clones. Donda and Pesce being comedic relief. And Sayalapido just being like, yes, you guys can't beat me because I'm smart and you're dumb. And then Uryu just being like to Pesce, like, yo, stop, please, dog. I'm trying to fight, dog. And then Pesce's like, come on, Uryu, you're supposed to be the straight man. And it's just like, bro, please. Pesce and Donachaka are funny, but in bursts. Like I can only handle so much when it's just Pesce and Donachaka. Every time we see them, when we go over to Uryu and Renji, where Uryu and Renji are just fighting clones the whole time. It's so corny. Like, come on, dog, just fight Sayalapido. Like, why are you being so corny by spawning clones? Just fight them yourselves. Run their fade. You proved that you can beat them before, so why aren't you doing it now? Like, come on, yo, it's so stupid. But then you go over to Noito, and by the way, I'm not complaining about that as in like that's Tite Kubo's fault in the writing. I'm just getting frustrated with it because it's taking so long. You know, I don't like with that passive play where you're summoning things because I just think it's boring in storytelling. But that's just me personally. So I don't want to call it bad. I just it's not for me because again, this is my review, my opinion type stuff. So that's how I'm going to be phrasing it. But then you go over to Noitora and Ichigo. Again, really boring because Ichigo's just getting his fade ran, completely jumped, stomped on his J's. His Air Force Ones are getting creased by Noitora and he's just getting spat on. His Orihime's watching. And then Nell, right? She pulls out her move. And this part I liked. This part I did like. Where Nell reveals that she's actually an ex Espada, where she was number 3, and Noitora used to be number 8. So it was pretty cool seeing her turn into an Espada, basically, that her memories were gone. She lost her memory. Donda Chaka and Pesce used to be her servants, and the reason that they're always with her is because of that. They make it as a guise of like, oh, we're family, but in reality, no. They're actually like really close without being family. So it's like, oh, that's cool. We get to learn more about Nao, Noitora, all that stuff. It was cool backstory. It was cool backstory, and them fighting was cool. Not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it was cool. So then we go back to Sayalapido again, bunch of clone fighting, but then Renji breaks out of the dome that they were in, which I forgot to mention. They were in a dome type thing, and now they're fighting outside in the Las Noches, where there's the sun outside. So they're in the same area where Ichigo and Orihime are, but not in the same like area, if you know what I mean. Where they're in the same terrain, but let's say like I'm in the U.S., like in let's say Boston, while Ichigo and Orihime are all the way in Florida. They're all the way in Georgia type stuff, bro. So they're out, and now they're fighting Sayalapido again outside. Then we go back to Ichigo, where Nell's fighting him, all that stuff, and she runs out. Her power is too much for her to do anything because she uses her resurrection, and she's about to hit Noitora with something because she caught her off guard or caught him off guard, excuse me. But it runs out, so now Ichigo's getting beat up again, and then lo and behold, the man of the hour shows up. The one, the only Kenpachi Zaraki shows up. The captain, I forgot the name, the captain, like what squad he's the captain of, but he's a captain. And then you go over to Sayalapido and you see Mayuri show up with Nemo, and then you see, oh actually I forgot, Yachiru showed up with Kenpachi as well. Then you have um what's his name? Byakuya Kuchiki showing up on Rukia's part, where we see a guy in a Espada show up and fight Rukia or try to kill her, and then Byakuya shows up. He's like, "What are you doing, big dog? I don't think I ever authorized this." And then they start beefing, bro. It's so fire. And I forgot his name, but the one of the healers from Squad 4 who we saw in the Soul Society arc, I forgot his name, but he was there as well with Rukia. So he shows up again and he's healing Rukia, and now we get to the good fights. Mayuri versus Sayalapido Grants, Noitora versus Kenpachi, and Byakuya versus the I think eighth level Espada, eighth or seventh or ninth, I don't remember, but I think he's ninth. I think he's ninth. I forgot his name. But my favorite fight here is Byakuya versus the ninth Espada. No doubt. This fight was amazing. It was so cool. It was so fire. I loved it. It was my favorite one out of all these fights in this like mini arc that's here. Then you have Kenpachi's versus Noitora's, and that one kind of redeemed itself because at first it was just Kenpachi basically toying with Noitora, and then he starts getting low and weak, and he's like, "Oh shoot, I'm actually dying. All right, I guess it's time to stop playing around." And he uses Kendo, bro. He starts using Kendo, which is fire. And Kenpachi's fight ends the last, so I'm gonna go over to Mayuri before we go over to Kenpachi again. Mayuri's fight was cool. I'd say honestly, like it'd probably be my least favorite, but not by much because it was just again some padding out, but it was cool because it really just shows the difference between Mayuri and Sayalapido, where Sayalapido wants to be perfect while Mayuri never wants to be perfect because he wants to strive to be better. Because if you're perfect, then that means you set a cap for yourself, you set a limit. While Mayuri is literally just like, I want to just be better. I never want to limit myself by saying I want to be perfect because being a perfect being limits your potential because you're everything. But I want to be better because if I can be better, I can be better than a perfect being. If I can or theoretically put the cap on what a perfect being would be, quote unquote. So that was a really cool like not philosophical, I guess philosophical like take on it, which is really cool. Because like, oh, excuse me, it was really cool because I didn't expect Bleach to have that of all things. Like having the potential to be better than being perfect type thing, which is like that was really insightful. Honestly, like looking back on it, it was really insightful. But now you go over to Kenpachi, where actually I didn't talk about like Byakuya how his fight ended. He used Senbon Sakura, Kageyoshi, and he beat the guy instantly, completely. Like the guy had powers where he had eyes and all that, and if he looked at you, he could just control your body part. But Byakuya was just slicing his limbs that got controlled, and he just uses his Zanpakuto, his Bankai, and immediately claps him, which makes me wonder how did Ichigo beat this guy, bro? How did he beat this again? Like it's crazy. It's crazy to think about, but uh, Byakuya won his fade. It was super fire. Then you go back to Kenpachi. Kenpachi and Noitora are just beefing. And for the first half of this fight, it's just alright to me. It gives me like Ichigo versus Noitora vibes where it just feels padded out. It's super boring to me. But then when Kenpachi starts getting serious is when I really start liking this fight. Not my favorite, but man, it was fire once it started heating up. And then the way it ended, really cool because Kenpachi uses Kendo, which this whole time, if you notice, he was using one hand, one arm to wield his sword. And the fact that he uses two and it makes it stronger is fire. Really fire, genuinely fire. So they all win their fates. Captain Unohana as well from Squad 4 is here as well. So she's healing Chad, healing Uryu, Renji, or not Renji and Uryu. Rukia, Isane is here as well, which is her lieutenant. And they're just all everybody healing everybody, all that stuff. And then Kenpachi wins this fade. We get a cool backstory for Noitora, and it's just like, oh, this is fire. We get to see why he hate Nell, why Nell is just like, she's nice, she's cool. But I remember seeing a comment where it was like, Nell really was just mean to Noitora no matter what. Like I think Noitora started hating her because she was just following him around, calling him weak and all that. It's just like, yo, relax, like chill. But I don't know if that's true or not because it was like, oh, it was manga accurate or whatever. But I can't verify it, so I'm not gonna say anything on it. It was just interesting to read about it because it kind of influenced me a little bit, but I know it shouldn't have. But then we get to the finale of this arc where Kenpachi wins his fate, and then Starks from the Espada shows up, and he kidnaps Orihime, brings him over to Aizen's castle. Aizen is like, "Yo, I'm glad you're back. All you have to do now is just watch because I don't need your power anymore. Check this out." And or not Kenpachi. Aizen, Gin, and the blind guy, I forgot his name, invade Gadakura town, and then all the Espada join him, while Ukiura stays behind to basically protect the castle to run his fade with Ichigo one more time. So Ichigo now has the goal of I have to rescue Orihime again because Ukiura is here and he's not gonna let me leave or like try to get Orihime without fighting him. So it's basically round two, where if you guys remember, I mentioned Ukiura versus Ichigo part one, crazy fight, barely even a fight because Ichigo got bodied. But here it's gonna be crazy because I remember what happens. So I'm gonna love it, dog. I'm gonna love it so crazy. But basically, all the captains, everybody who's in the Orihime rescue squad, all of them are stuck in Hueco so they have no way of leaving until I guess they beat Ukiura or just like find a way to leave with Kisuke or whatever. So that's cool. But then you have all the captains in Karakura, excuse me, the rest of them are there. So since if you remember Gin, Aizen, and Tosin, I think is his name. I think Tosin's his name. Those three left, and you have Unohana, Kenpachi, Byakuya, and Mayuri in Hueco as well. So that's seven captains in a 13 court guard squad that are just gone. So all you have is like Toshiro, Ukitake, Yamamoto. You have Soifone. Um, what's this dude's name? Kiyoraku. I think I mentioned him already. Um, Toshiro, I think I did. Toshiro, Ukitake, Kiyoraku, Soifon, Yamamoto. I'm missing somebody because that's only 12 cap. The dog captain. I forgot his name, but the dog captain. He's cool. So they're there with their lieutenants, and they're all basically waiting for Aizen. And the reason why they're waiting in Karakura Town, which is Ichigo's hometown, is because they copied Karakura Town, made a replica of it. Mayuri did and his crew, and they basically made it into Soul Society, had the real Karakura town switch places with that Soul Society version. So now Karakura town's safe. The fake Katakura town is where they're fighting now. So that's really cool. Genuinely really cool. So now the next arc, which is basically Aizen versus Yamamoto in Katakura town, is going to happen. But actually, there's an arc before that where it's not filler, which I always thought it was filler, but it actually isn't. Where we're gonna learn about the 13 core card squads before, like Shinji and all of them left. So that's gonna be really cool. I can't wait to talk about it. It's only gonna be 6 episodes, so it's not gonna be that long. But I can't wait to talk about it. It's gonna be fire. But yeah, that's basically where that ends. Ichigo has to fight Okiota. Katakura Town's turning into a battlefield. Everybody's stuck in Hueco Mundo. Most of the Espada that they fought are gone. Like Espada number 10, number 9, number 8. I forgot who number 8 was. Honestly, I don't remember. But actually, no, it was Sayalapido. Yeah, it was Sayalapido. He's gone. You have Noitora, who's gone, and I think that's it. Oh, Grimjow is gone. So that's already like one, two, three, five Arrancars gone already. So now it's only like the rest of them. So 5 of them, Aizen, Gin, and Toz. So that's like what, 8 of them versus the 13 core card squads which are there, which is 6 of them with lieutenants as well. So it's gonna be fire. On top of that, what's their faces? The Arrancar that are in or hollows that are in Katakura Town on top of Kisuke and Yoruichi as well. So they could fight as well. It's gonna be fire. I'm gonna really like that battle when it happens. But if I had to say my favorite battle from this one, it has to be Byakuya's fight. That one was so good. Generally so good. I loved it so much. But it was more like it appealed to me more less than it did like like Ichigo versus Grimjow type thing. But it was cool. It was cool. Music is always great as always. Or music is as as great as it's always been. The last 10 minutes redundant, whatever. It's good, it's great. Yeah, the pacing, bad pacing, really bad pacing. I don't know what happened between Ichigo's and Grimjow's fight until here, but the pacing just turned terrible. Genuinely cocky. I don't know what happened, but for animation, animation's getting better. It's getting close to like that 2012 Bleach type animation, which I can't wait to see. I think like we're in 2009 right now when this came out, or 2011, but I can't wait to see it. And then after that, you have characters, MVP of this one. I have to say it's probably Kenpachi. Like, shoot, he was fire. Kenpachi was fire in this one. But I don't know. It's hard to say because Byakuya was good as well when Ohana was fire. I don't know. I don't know what I would say. Excuse me. Oh man, I'm just tired because it's like 12 when I'm recording this, like 12 in the morning. So I'm probably gonna go to bed once I finish this. But overall, like this arc, it was alright. It had some good stuff in it, but I just don't like the pacing of it. I don't like some of the things that happened. So it really brings it down for me. So I'm gonna have to say it's a 5. It might be a little harsh. I probably should give it a 6, but I just can't because I really didn't like it that much. So next arc, it's only gonna be 6 episodes. That one should be coming out pretty soon. But I hope you all enjoy. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. If not, then that's perfectly fine. As long if you watched, then that means a lot to me, more than it would if you didn't. So I'll see you all in the next video. And until next time. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, I'm probably not gonna be uploading much. I'm gonna be going on holiday. So as you can already tell, I missed 2 days already. So I'm gonna be gone for a grip. Like this video, I'm gonna try to get videos out there, but if I can't, then I can't, Like, so there might be a little bit of a drought while I'm gone. So I'm sorry for that, but I'll try to be straight with you guys. But thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.